we're going to go back and recap the Mediterranean real quick. We talked about the Mediterranean last week, and we missed some folks. So we're going to come back, and our sound was off. So now let's talk about our Mediterranean Tile Quilt featuring the Kaffe Fassett Artisan and batiks. All right. So you should be getting in the mail, if you don't have it by now, your Mediterranean Tile Quilt Kit. And you've got a pattern. It's a free pattern that you can download. You've got all of these lovely fabrics. And I want to talk about these fabrics. So we're going to talk about the background fabric and what to use this for. This is your border fabric. We're going to set that aside. Okay? And then we're going to talk about some of these other fabrics. Now here's the thing. The center of this quilt, it requires you to cut from it a border, okay, out of this beautiful star batik. And I'm going to suggest you not cut this yet. You do not need to cut this quite yet, and you do not need to cut your border yet. This is fabric C, this is fabric B. Set these two aside. Set aside fabric A. These fabrics, they are for the center panel of the quilt, which is just like a log cabin type effect. You've got a flower, and then you've got these strips around it, and then you have all these beautiful snowballs. And we're going to run a contest. So what we would like to challenge you to do is when you cut your snowballs out and you figure out what you want to use with your scraps, is to create a beautiful center to this quilt. And you have until the end of April to design the center of this quilt and replace that one panel cut with something fun and creative. And then you will win a quilt kit this summer from me for another sew along, all Kaffe Fassett fabrics. So what I would like for you to do is think about that when you're cutting this fabric, and also think about the pieces to the room that we're going to be doing. So let's talk about what are we doing this quilt, coordinating pieces in our complete bedroom set. So we love doing the complete bedroom set. We're going to have the quilt, we're going to have pillow shams, we're going to have an accent pillow, and we're going to have a square jelly roll rug for him and for her. So when they get out of bed and put their feet down on the ground, they're touching this beautiful, fun fabric. But I'm playing with an idea to make that jelly roll rug into a Chanel effect. And it's a technique I learned at market. It's difficult because you can't use batiks for it. So I'm working with someone right now and designing a rug that will work for us for this complete bedroom set. And I hope to have that done in 2 weeks so I can show you. Next week, we'll talk about the accent pillow. Tonight, we're going to talk about this quilt, and we're going to talk about the pillow shams. Okay, so knowing that there are lots of options with your scraps, let's talk about what you can do with your current quilt and what you should think through, okay? We do have a pillow pack that was shipped out, and it's available. We only have a few left. I think we have like 8 left. And I'm going to show you that pillow sham in a minute. And I'm going to talk about this fabric because it's tough. These batiks and artisans, you're going to need to really think through which fabrics you want in your quilt. You do not need to cut everything to the pattern and have leftover waste. What I want you to do is figure out what size quilt you want. These snowballs are easy to calculate left to right. Just like we're doing with the cathedral quilt, you know the size you should get for your standard queen size quilt, and then you want to figure out how many snowballs do I want and which patterns do I want. So on the wall, you'll see how I did the pillow sham. I laid it out for you. I took my fabrics, I folded them into little squares. And then I laid them out on my table. And I kept playing with them like I'm doing the design wall until I got the layout the way I wanted them. Then you can figure out if you like a certain fabric more than once. Yes, it's going to be on your side of the quilts, but do you want to repeat it in the quilt repetition somewhere? And if you do, this would go into a different stack, because then you know you need 2 snowballs of this one. Once you divide out your fabrics into, I like this one a lot, I'm going to have more of this one, this is okay, I may not want that one as much, I'll put that on the left. Then you can start mapping out your snowballs and how much you need to cut out of each fabric. That's how I do my quilt. And I sketch. So you know, at the Petting Fabric website, we have those sketch papers you can download and print. You can buy them anywhere. If you want to go to Barnes & Noble, get some grid paper, whatever. But sketch out your quilt. Figure out, these are all labeled. Have the pattern right next to you with the numbers of the fabrics, right, the letters, and mark in the snowballs how you laid out your fabrics, and mark the letters so you know how many of each color you're going to cut for your size quilt. From that exercise, you will now know that when you have this daisy, I love this Gerber daisy, and I love this in the blue one too. When you have this Gerber daisy and you're cutting it, okay, you're going to know that you're going to only want, let's say, 6 snowballs out of this. Well, leave the long strip of fabric alone so that you can use this in a jelly roll rug or a tuffet, and start your 8-inch squares all from the same. You want to start at the same end, work your way in, leaving as much scrap as you can, because you don't need to fussy cut this one too badly. It's very easy to center this and fussy cut this one. When it comes to one of these unique patterns, like, let's see, one of these other flowers in here, this is where you need to be a little more thoughtful and mindful of how you cut this pattern. And I use this twice in the pillow sham, one for each pillow sham. So I may only put one of these in the quilt. That's, you know, a question. If you got a pillow sham kit, you got this piece of fabric for the pillow sham. So you will have plenty. So that is just up to you. There is 2, 3 paisleys. That's what I love about this particular quilt, is that it repeats a lot of the same fabric prints in different colors, which is super cool. You've got a painted pots, okay, and you have the other painted pots. So this one's called red, and this one's called orange. And I didn't know why, and then I found out, someone told me that there's a lot of orange dots in this one, and there's a lot of red dots. But to me, this is an orange background, but this one is no longer in print, and I got this for everybody. So that's what's really cool, is that this fabric, you might be able to find it in your local quilt shop. They're not printing it, so use this. It's great. Okay, make sure you use that one in your quilts. And then, of course, you guys got this, which is a great, this is my favorite color of painted pots. Okay, so think that through. Then when you cut, be mindful of how you cut, and leave the long strips on one end so you can use them in your jelly roll rugs. You probably will not have enough to do the jelly roll. I know you won't have enough to do the jelly roll rug and the pillow shams, but you will have enough to do the jelly roll rugs and the pillows accent pillow, which we're going to show you in probably next week or the following week. And that pillow is pretty cool. It's a play off of something I saw, those big bohemian floor pillows, and they're scrappy, and the center has a round flower that we're going to pull off this center. So I was like, oh, I have to design that, and we're going to do a smaller version of that on the middle of the quilt bed. So let's talk about some of these fabrics in the pillow sham. Okay, when you cut out your background, you're going to need this in the pillow sham. So be mindful of the cuts here, because the corners for the snowballs here are a different size than the pillow sham. The pillow sham is a 4.5-inch cut, sewn down finished size to 4 inches. And Colleen Harris, who helped me make the pillow shams, realized that we could cut out this fabric in such a way that the corners would not show these flowers and give it more of a pop. So let me show that to you now. She did an excellent job with these. So this is the pillow sham panel, okay? Isn't that beautiful? That's just lovely. I'm going to show it to you on a pillow. Okay, so this is not finished. The pattern's not done yet. Like I do when I design any pillow sham, is I pin it to my favorite pillow sham, which my favorite pillow sham is this beautiful quilted one from Pottery Barn. And I play with the size and I play with the pattern, and I decide how I want to do this, the sides and the backing. So my first step is to take this panel and place it on here, and let's talk about this panel. I have this picture of this panel on the wall, so you can follow this panel pattern exactly. I would be very happy to see you make this pillow panel the same way. So the top is got a couple things I want to point out to you. First off, the paisley here. So you got a paisley here and a paisley here. And actually, I'm going to turn this over. This is the way I plan to put it on my bed. I happen to love these four together. This flower is directional, so the stem is going down, and this flower here is directional. I'm going to point to it way down there, and so that is going down. This is going to be up for me. All right, I care about direction. Some people don't, and that's cool. When I did this brown with the dots, we put the blue this way. I liked these two being perpendicular to each other. I felt like that kind of flowed better. This one here being on top of this one, this is horizontal and this is vertical. And I thought that that flowed, but both of these stripes are horizontal. I did not like them vertical, my personal preference. Then the paisley here, these two paisleys are going up, and this paisley down here is going horizontal. Now, pay attention to a couple things. This green star, which is pretty cool, this green star you only have enough for one, and this Gerber daisy is like my favorite daisy. It's very hard to get this fabric. We are waiting on this one fabric right now for a few more kits. This fabric's hard to get. It seems to go just like lightning fast. I put these two in the center of my pillow because this is the fun part of this pillow to me and my two favorites. Now the green, because there's not that many greens, we took this purple fern right here. This fabric that you have has an orange colorway leaf and a green teal leaf. So we pulled the cut and fussy cut it into green, so we had more greens in the quilt. And then this one up here has orange, and it's with this family that I really like. I love this saw, blue and orange saw with this, with the, what they call the orange painted pots, and then the pink star. These star batiks, you really can't appreciate how gorgeous they are until you get this kit. And when you get these star batiks in your hands, you're just like, they're amazing. You just want to make everything out of those batiks. We get them in the purple, and we have them in the mauve, so purple and mauve. It comes in the green, it comes in the pink, it comes in a red and a pink, and then there's also a navy, which is just stunning. So there's a lot of really cool fabrics in this pillow sham, and I think this is going to be one of my most favorite colorways, patterns, and coordination of fabrics. So that's the pillow sham. You are to sew this panel together, and even though we don't have printed instructions, I'll go ahead and post it as a pull down for everyone who got a quilt kit. I'll email it to you. And then if you're a Petting Fabric member, you can pull it down in the patterns there. but I'll go ahead and tell you that a pillow sham should be 24 inches by 20. So 24 by 20, you can figure this out. If these are finished 4 inches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's 24 inches. And this is 5, that's 20. That's how we came up with the size to match my pillow sham, because this is my ideal pillow sham. This works for me. This is the size I like. And I think a standard pillow sham is like 22 by 25, which is too little too large for me. My pillows don't fit that well. So I do 20 by 24. These being finished, 4.5 starting, 4 inches finished. That's a 1.5 inch square. And notice the squares for the snowballs. Colleen did a great job. There are no flowers in those squares in the corners, which makes the other colors pop. You won't get that lucky in the quilt, but the quilt, you want the flowers. I mean, it's just such a great compliment. It just changes it up a little. So once you sew up this panel, do not put an interface on the back of this panel. I learned the hard way that interfaces do not work on the back of batiks. When you press them and you get a bubble in it, it's not forgiving. The batiks don't have that stretch and that forgiveness that a cotton does or one of the other fabrics. So don't put an interface on, don't press an interface on the back of this, even though you think this panel might need it. Another key thing that I'm going to share with you is I want you to press your seams towards the snowballs, not towards the middles, because when we go to quilt this, which you will see in a week or two, we're going to want the snowballs to pop. We're going to want the corners to be recessed, which gives it this real cool like octagon effect. Well, if you press all your seams to the center, that's going to make it harder to get them recessed. And these batiks and these colors are so, great fabrics that if you press towards those snowballs, you're not going to be able to see those seams in there. And our batting today is so much better than a long time ago that you're not going to see those seams as well. The other thing you could do if you wanted to take the time is to press those seams open. But I prefer that you press them towards the snowballs, giving a little raise to the snowballs and a recess to the diamonds. So your homework is to figure out what fabrics you want in your quilt. You're going to need a lot of 4.5 inch cuts for these pillow shams because you need 30 little mini snowballs, and we don't have 30 fabrics of just snowball fabrics. You have 29 fabrics with the border and the backing, but you don't want a snowball in the border and the backing, okay? So you need to be thoughtful and mindful about what you're going to use where, and then making sure you decide if you want to do either pillow shams or the jelly roll square rug, which is going to be super easy because they're straight strips, not circular. So we're going to make that fun, and I'm going to jazz it up and make it into a Chanel type of rug. So that's it for tonight. Now I do want to talk about what's coming up next week. I'm going to put that aside. We're going to start the Sew Along with Georgie Girl tote. You guys have been asking me to do this tote, and I've been, putting it off, and I have finished this pattern. And then, so we're going to do the Sew Along with Georgie Girl tote, and we're going to start this project next week. Now, we have a kit for this in the darker scuba. It was super cool. And we sell it with and without the stabilizer, because the stabilizer is what makes the kit so expensive to ship because it's hard and bulky to ship. But you can get the buy any stabilizer at a local quilt shop if you want, or you can just get the kit from us with all the fabrics and all the cool stuff. You get the mesh. We're going to make our own straps, and that is not going to be 6 weeks. We're going to compress that, so you have to do your homework really fast when you do the sew along, and we're going to start that next week. Okay, that completes our sessions for tonight. The links to the Cathedral window quilt is in the Sew Along with Georgie Girl. I put that up for you. And please PM me or let me know if you have any questions. I'm going to say goodnight, and then we're going to do what we always do, and we're going to answer questions. So have a great week, and I will see you all next week at the Sew Along with Georgie Girl.